Hey everyone, welcome back to the OrtoTech Garage. My name's Keith. Today I got something pretty cool lined up for you. We're going to be talking about headlights a little bit, and then we're going to head out to the shop and we're going to perform a full headlamp restoration. If you've got some headlights that are cloudy and faded, this is going to be the process for you. You're going to really enjoy this, and when you see the finished product, you're going to be pretty impressed. Just wanted to talk a second too about cloudy headlights and what that means for your visibility. These modern headlights have projection beams on them, and there's reflectors and things that go inside the headlamp assemblies. This is so you can see the proper distance. When those headlamps get cloudy and faded, you're losing a lot of visibility, and that's affecting the way you should be driving at night. You know, high-speed driving gets a little more dangerous. Driving around the neighborhood gets a little more dangerous. So it's really important, if your headlights are looking pretty rough, that you're doing something with them. Now, I understand that a lot of the cars we work on are higher end cars. We see Lexus Infinity products and those types of things that have headlamp assemblies that are easily in excess over $1,500, $2,000 a piece, especially if they have an active front lighting system where they can turn around the corners and things as you're driving. So this is not always a viable option. If you have headlamps that are like that, you don't want to go out and buy a new set. But what we're going to do today is a viable option. It's very inexpensive to do. The results are phenomenal. You're going to see that, and you're going to really enjoy the process as well. I want to make sure that you guys are safe out there as always. I want to make sure you can see everything that's on the road at night, and this process is going to help do that. So come on out in the garage with me. Let's get right after it. I've got some things already set up in the garage so we can take care of this job. I wanted to show you a few of the products we're going to use and a couple of the tools that we need in order to do this. Over here I've got an assortment of sanding discs. We've got 500 grit, 800 grit, 1000 grit, and 3000 grit. I also have a spray bottle with some water, some jet seal that we can apply to the headlights when we're done, some tape so we can tape off the areas that we need to around the headlights, a couple of rags. I've got a sander, polisher, electric machine here, and a couple of polishing pads. I've got a fine and a coarse rotary polish here that we're going to use when we're done, and I've got a rotary polisher as well. This should be pretty much everything we need to take care of this job. Let's go ahead and get started. The first step we want to do when we're performing this task here is just to mask off this area around the headlights. If our sander gets too close, we don't want to be sanding on the paint job or anything like that. I've also got the hood open just a little bit so that our sander can go under here without us having to tape off the hood. Let's go ahead and get this taped up a little bit and protected, then we can get started on the sanding portion. This tape job doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get it close enough to the headlight so that if you come off the headlight a little with the sander by accident, you don't touch the paint. We're not trying to tape off the entire bumper or trying to paint this car. Okay, again, we don't need to tape here. This section is already open. We're going to come right under here with our sander, and no risk of touching the hood there. The first sanding step is going to be 500 grit. We're going to use that dry with our dual action sander. This is an electric sander. We'll probably ratchet up the power on this a bit so that we can make light work of getting the rough sanding done. The purpose of using this first step is to remove all of the defects on the plastic, remove any scratches. This is probably the most important step here, just to remove all the imperfections. If we don't get them now, they're never going to come off with the remaining sanding steps because we're going finer and finer with each sanding. This sandpaper will clog up a bit after some use, so you want to go ahead and swap it out if you need to. Like I said, this is the most important step. We've got a lot of the rough work to do to get all the imperfections out of the headlight. The most amount of debris is going to get embedded in that pad right on your initial sanding. The rest after that will just be some plastic on it. You might be able to dust it out a little bit. Let's get back at it. Well, I've got about as much as I need done here with this 500 grit, the initial step. I feel like I've got a majority of the defects out of here. Like I said before, don't rush through this step. Don't rush through any of these steps. It's just a process of removing all the old stuff. It's a slow process. We're not putting a lot of pressure on the sander. We want to let the sandpaper do its job. We don't want to create any flat spots on the headlamp, so make sure we keep this sander moving along the contours of the headlight as much as you can. And then, you know, just kind of each step you want to go back over it as the sandpaper is starting to wear out. It gets a little bit finer, so that helps to reduce some of the mark. As you wear the sandpaper out, it'll be a little bit finer each moment you're using it. So I know this looks really bad right now, and I don't want anybody to get freaked out, but this is the process. We have to get from here to looking brand new, and that's why we're using finer and finer sandpaper. We're going to get eventually to some wet sanding, some compounding, and then some polishing. So stick with me. We're going to show you the rest of the steps here, and this is going to look dynamite when we're done. I'm moving to an 800 grit sandpaper, slightly finer than the 500 grit we were using. I also wanted to show you guys, if you take a little water and you spray this down, it'll help you to identify any imperfections that you've still got in the plastic. Right now it's still, you know, pretty cloudy because we've really done a number with it on the sandpaper. But just take a look at it closely and see if you've got any thick scratches in there or anything like that that need to be removed still. If you do not continue to the next step. It's not going to get any easier with 800 grit or 1000 grit wet or 3000 grit wet sanding. Those sandpapers are only to remove the marks from the most coarse sandpaper we're using, which is the 500 grit. Let's get right into it with the 800. Okay, so I feel pretty good. I'm about complete with my 800 grit sanding. Again, spray it down with some water here, wipe it back, and inspect it as closely as you can. I know it's still very cloudy. That's all going to go away here as we move along. Just make sure that you don't have any heavy sanding marks or anything like that. It should be looking pretty uniform right now as far as being equally cloudy everywhere. No spots that look more densely clouded than anywhere else. And definitely no scratches or any discoloration, any of those things. We're about ready to go on to the next step, which is going to be 1000 grit sandpaper wet. And we want to keep a thin amount of water on there as we do this and keep the pad working. Apply a little water to your sand pad and be plenty liberal on the headlamp. We don't want this to dry out at all. We want to make sure we're getting a really fine sand on it. We're going to continue spraying and wiping as we go along. You'll see this, this white plastic start to build up on the headlamp. That's perfectly normal. We're going to spray this down and wipe it again. Take a look at it, see if there's some spots again that appear overly cloudy. You want to hit those again if they appear. I hope by this point that you're starting to see this become more and more transparent. Every step gets a little bit better, and by the time we get to the end, these are going to look brand new. I'm going to give this one more round. I feel pretty good about that step. That was the 1000 grit wet sanding. We're going to move on to the next one. It's going to be 3000 grit wet sanding. Let's clean this one up. One more step. Hang in there. We're almost done with this job, and you're going to like the results. Let's go for it. Now that I finished the 3000 grit wet sanding, the next step is to do some compounding on the headlight. I'm hoping at this point you can see the clarity starting to come back into this headlight. If you were to rewind to the beginning when we started, it's going to look clearly different. Each step we're getting finer and finer, bringing back that clarity. Let's go ahead and get the compound out, and you'll see what this looks like. You filming? We clearly had an accident. At this point, I've got 3 steps left. We're going to compound, we're going to polish, and we're going to seal the headlight. I've got 2 separate pads here for my buffer. This one is a pretty firm pad. We're going to use this with the compound. This one is a soft pad, and we're going to use this with the polish. I also have here a coarse polish to use with the white pad. I have a fine polish to use with the yellow pad. We really only need a small drop on here. Sometimes when it's fresh pad like this, I'll put a couple. I like to work it into the pad. See if we can saturate that pad a little bit. And then we're going to hit this with the polisher. I want to take a moment here and just let you look at this up close. You can see this side is still fairly cloudy and this side is already starting to come clean. This is the look we're going for. We're going to finish the rest of this headlight out and we'll move on to the next step. This may be a good time to get out a new microfiber towel. This is a really fine process here. We don't want to put any scratches back in if we had some sanding material left over in our other towel. I recommend you spread this out before you hit the polisher. If you fling this stuff everywhere, it's going to make a mess. We're getting pretty close. I'm going to give it one more round with the polisher here. Hopefully you can see this is looking pretty nice right now. This last step is just the final finish on it. We want to make sure we remove any other imperfections that are on there from this compound. This is where I'm going to switch to my softer pad. And I'm also going to switch to my fine compound. Work that into your pad again, especially this is a brand new pad. Buff that back. Take a look everywhere, make sure you're satisfied with your results. I think that's looking pretty fantastic. We're about ready to put some sealer on it. There's several different things you can use to seal these headlights. Now that we've removed all that corroded plastic on there, the oxidized plastic, it's stained and everything, we've removed all the factory UV protectant that was on this headlight when it came from the factory. We need to restore it with something. So some kind of wax that's long lasting like this Jet Seal product. You may even want to use a wipe-on ceramic coat of some sort. It doesn't really matter what you put on there. You can even put a coat of wax on it. If you put a product that lasts a little bit longer, you won't have to do it as often. But just keep in mind, over time, this product will be removed and you want to make sure it's UV protected. So continue to apply some kind of UV protectant to it, a wax or something of that sort, maybe every 3 to 6 months or so. And these headlights will remain looking fantastic for you for a long time to come. This particular product, this Jet Seal, I like to let it sit on here for a bit, maybe about 10 minutes or so. Let it get hard on the headlamp. Don't wipe it all off, let a little bit stick on here. We'll let it sit and adhere to the plastic, and then after a little bit of time's gone by, we're going to buff it back. Can't wait to show you the result compared to the other side. All right, so we are polishing back this sealer now. Just removing the haze from it. You don't have to go crazy and rub it all back off the headlight. We want some of the product to stay in the plastic. It's time to remove all of our tape. You'll have some splatter on here from all the product and the wet sanding and those things. Make sure you wipe the entire car down here. This way everything's looking like the way it was when you started. All right, that should do it. I want you to come take a look at the difference between the driver's side and the passenger side. It should be pretty obvious to you. These headlights are looking like brand new. I should say this headlight is looking like brand new. We're going to go ahead and finish up the other side. This way this person is happy when they come get their car. And you guys are really going to notice the difference when we show you the final reveal here at both of them. I am so excited to unveil this for you and show you what's going on underneath. Take a look. That's right, the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to hit those. Honk that horn for notifications so you get more content like this. Well, there it is, guys. Headlight restoration, looking like new again. Hope you guys really enjoyed that content. I enjoyed creating it for you. I hope you found it useful and maybe something you can apply to your own car. I want you guys to be safe out there. Please let me know in the comments down there anything you'd like to see, what you thought of the video. And don't forget to watch this next video right here. We've got great content for you. Thank you for watching.